Hello, everybody. Welcome to NNPA Live, Black Press USA. My name is Noah Washington, and you are here with the Blurred Binder. Right now, we are speaking with Mr. Michael Anthony. You ready, man?
Yes, I'm ready. What's up, Noah? How's everybody doing out there?
Good. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Let's just get straight into it. You're an esteemed actor, moving up in the world. Very exciting. Tell us, how did you first begin this journey?
Well, I started off in the music industry. I was in the music industry for about 15, 16 years. I was signed with Slip and Slide Records, EMI, and Atlantic Records, writing and producing music, singing, rapping, everything I could do musically. But eventually, I mean, my childhood dream was always to be an actor. But of course, living in certain markets, acting is not a reality, especially back then. We didn't really have social media and the internet like we do now. But I was down in Miami and I was doing a what was it? Not scoring the film. We were doing a soundtrack for this film called Magic City that they were filming in Miami, and the director was there, and he was like, while I was picking the songs, he was like, "Hey man, you ever thought about acting?" And I was like, "Nah." He's like, "There's a character I see you playing. We've been looking for this character, and I could see you playing it." So he broke the character down, and they invited me to come do the audition. I didn't know anything about an audition. I didn't know anything about sides and breakdowns and nothing. I just came and did what I could, and they gave me the role. So I did the whole film. After the first day, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. The film ended up going on BET, but they ended up, whoever bought the film, they recasted it and reshot it and everything. But I was bitten by the bug, and I actually had to say, forget about acting. I was hurt about the whole, the fact they took me off the project. But Flo Rida, the rapper, he was in that film. And he texted me one day randomly out of the blue and was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm in Atlanta. And I said, where are you? He's like, I'm in LA where you should be. He's like, man, I mean, I'm not trying to make your business, but I respect your music, but you should be in film and television. So it was just a lot of different confirmations I had saying it was what I was supposed to be doing. And once I started, things just picked up really fast. So that was validation.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great story. So originally in the music business doing sound, what projects would you look for?
What, as far as the music, what was I looking for? I was looking for who's ever paying at the time. But I was doing I was mainly into, I mean, I grew up singing and playing a little piano. So my passion when it came to music was singing. But I got a record deal as a rapper because I was, a lot of, if you hear now, back when I was doing it, it was like, oh, you have to sing or rap. But when you're musically inclined, it could come out both ways. So like now, all rappers are singers. They sing rap. It's melodic now. But that's what I was doing back then before it was a thing. And I had issues with that. I mean, the labels had issues trying to promote me because they couldn't put me in a lane. They were like, well, he's not R&B, but he's not a rapper. So it was a gift and a curse back then.
Oh man. So let's just go through some of your work. Recently you were featured on American Soul. Tell us a little bit about your character. Let us know for viewers who haven't seen.
Well, American Soul, I played a guy named Carl. I played Carl. Carl is a bruiser. He's Gerald's right-hand man. If y'all might watch the show. He's the muscle, he shows up when things get a little rough. And in that show, things got very rough. Carl ended up getting stabbed by a woman, shot at, a bomb exploded, a door shot. There was a lot going on. But yeah, Carl he's a real big, smooth gangster. So I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Take your time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
yeah, especially Carl, I don't know. That was somebody calling Carl right there, y'all.
All right. So moving on down the list, you are an Atlanta actor, right? What roles do you typically read for? What roles do you want to have?
Well, the thing about it, I'm fairly new. So whenever a lot of actors don't know this, but when you are new, well, I'll say a lot of people that want to be an actor. Whenever you are new, you have to hone in on your end. My end is the Carl's. Carl, the last, all of the films I do on mainstream, anything that goes to network, I'm usually going to be the big, massive, tough guy. Now, in real life, you know that I'm jolly. I'm always in a good mood. I'm smiling. It's really hard to make me upset. But in acting, it's almost like whatever the prejudgment is of you. That's your end. So my prejudgment being 6'5", 260 pounds, tattoos everywhere, big beard in society is like danger. So these are the roles I play. Some people would call it being typecast, but in reality, to get in, you have to have a pretty extensive resume so you can start getting bigger roles. So you have to hone in on your end. If you're an actor out there and if you're a woman and people like you just seem so mean when I first met you, that's your end. You can't don't be trying to play the nice girl because you're gonna have a hard time being casted in the beginning. Now I'm starting because I've gotten a lot of credits. Now things are starting to shift for me. Even if I am playing the tough guy, the roles are a lot. They're getting bigger, So I eventually want to work myself to being the black version of John Wick or Wolverine. I want to play a superhero. I mean, that's what I'm going to play a superhero. So that's my goal, is to be my version of the superhero.
Wow. That's so funny you say that. Any particular, before we get into the Black Lightning segment, is there any particular comic book hero?
I like Wolverine. I mean, I think Wolverine should have been a brother, man. I just think about Ogun. Take the when you think of Logan, take the L off. That's Ogun. It was when you think about Wolverine, he was a lumberjack. We think about Ogun as an energy that's over the woods and the forest. The energy of iron. We think about Wolverine. He had the iron claws, 3 of them. And the number 3, Ogun, all that stuff comes from a lot of African, ancient spirituality. So I've done a lot of research on that as well. But that's why I just really connect and resonate with Wolverine. I just love him. I just loved he's very masculine. I'm a very masculine guy. I mean, he's misunderstood. He loves differently. My version of love versus what a girl I'm dating's version of love is totally different. She may think, "Oh, you didn't buy me flowers." I'm like, "Yeah, but I woke up at 4:00 in the morning to go and do something I didn't want to do all day to provide for you." So I just like Wolverine. He resembles that for me.
Gotcha. I mean, I would have said Superman. There's a black Superman that exists in comics. That could be the one.
That could be the one.
We could.
But Superman is too nice.
Well,
for me.
I'll tell you what. I will ship to you the said comic, and once you read it, I think you'll get it. I'll think it a snap. So far on Blurred Binder, we've predicted where careers have gone. So I'm rooting for Superman for you.
Now you know what? That's dope. I would love to be Black Superman. Black Superman is actually, what would be dope about it is if I can I can add that cultural difference in there and just make him Black Superman. I like Superman. Superman that's actually a good idea.
You see, you're warming up to it.
I'm warming up to that. I can just fly wherever I want to go. I mean, that's better than iron claws right there. I can just.
You heard it here first, folks. Michael Anthony, Black Superman. Let's get a hashtag going.
We got to do it, man, because Uber is getting expensive. I can just fly to where I want to go
to. Just trailing off just a little bit. You were featured in the OWN program, Ready to Love, and one of the outliers and you compared to everybody else is how much you went into your African spirituality. What made you want to put that on the forefront and show audiences that side?
Well, I mean, African spirituality has been demonized by colonizers and oppressors and passed down to us. They passed it down to us in a way where we would demonize our own foundation. You know, even when I go to Africa, I go to Africa and I watch the media. The media will always be controlled by the powers that be because the media is a form of God to people. Because it tells people what to think, how to think, what to think. When to think it. When to be afraid. So even watching media in Africa is the same thing. It's demonizing our original way. Once I really got into, and I'm a preacher's kid. I grew up with my mother's a pastor, and I grew up in the world where we felt like, okay, this is something that we believe, and anybody else that doesn't believe this is wrong, and they're gonna burn in hell forever, and all that good stuff. And I mean, as you live, if you really live and you really open up to the existence of what you see and the reality of the manifestation of what's going on, we all don't like religion is your culture. You know what I mean? And when you look at people that look like us, we are in last place in the entire world because we are the only people in the world that has allowed someone to teach us to demonize our culture, our foundation. We're the only people in the world. Even if there's an Arabic man who's a Christian, he can be a Christian, but he's not going to demonize Islam. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because religion is culture. So because we have demonized our original way, and we get scared, and we get, oh my God, I better be careful with that, and all that mess that's been passed down to us from people who took our freedom. It's the reason why we are in the predicament we're in now. So me personally, I know a lot of the very successful Black people, especially in the entertainment world, they practice African spirituality, but they got to do it in private because they're afraid that people are going to look at them like they worship the devil or all this other mess. And I just feel like, you know what? I'm not about to hide away. I'm not about to hide what I believe for other people's spiritual insecurities. I mean, I'm not going to put your feelings or your teachings above my blessings or above what has got me where I am today. People are always asking me, how are you an actor that's only been acting for 2 years with 20 credits? That's unheard of, especially living in Atlanta. And that's how, because I've tapped into my spiritual roots, because I'm proud of it, because the ancestors and God in heaven recognize that I'm, taking that stance, I'm being rewarded for that. And I don't think there's anybody out there. I don't care if it's the president of the most powerful country. I don't care who it is. Nobody can put fear in my heart to speak on what God has done for me through my culture. Nobody can stop that. So I wouldn't care if I was on CNN, Fox, whatever. When I was on OWN, the thing I appreciate about OWN Network, at first they were like, man, maybe you shouldn't. And I was like, well, I won't be here. If I can't talk about my religion, I don't want to be on the show. I don't care what show it is. I don't care if it's a lead for Black Panther 6. If you want, how I worship God, then I don't need to be here because you are not my source. And they respected that. They let me put it on there.
Wow, that's powerful. So you would say, so your stance and the pride that you show in your faith and your culture, would you say that gave you an advantage going into the industry?
It gave me advantage in life. I mean, it gives anybody an advantage in life that pay homage to who they are and where they come from. That's an advantage in life, not just the industry. It definitely gives me an advantage in the industry because if you don't know who the hell you are, how can you go out there and you got to conquer yourself before you can play somebody else? As an actor, if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your own insecurities, you don't know your own strengths, your own powers, you can never truly open up yourself to play somebody else. And what makes you know yourself more than to look past what the most powerful people in the world have taught you and passed down to you through violence and influence and money and every other thing, rape, murder, whatever they can use to pass it down to you, put sugar on it, syrup. For me to look through past all that and still say, nah, I'm cool. I know that my ancestors were, I know my ancestors never went out and killed and took over anybody's land. They were minding their business. So you can't tell my ancestors were worshiping the devil when you came and slaughtered them. They were praying. They were minding their business, you know. And if you tell me that my ancestors was talking to the devil and we curse forever, how can we be cursed forever for my ancestors having a conversation with the devil, but you did the devil's work and you are cursed, you know? So I don't know. It's a lot of common sense that I shouldn't say common sense because it's not common, but it's definitely an advantage, man. Like just in life, not even just with that. I mean, overcoming depression, overcoming death in families, because you have a better understanding. It's just culture, man. If you ain't got your culture, you missing something. You'll always be missing something if you. And then when you get caught up in a situation where you don't know who you are, or you're not comfortable with standing on who you are. I mean, what can you stand on? You're gonna constantly be trying to force somebody else to believe something else you don't really truly believe. Now, I am proud of my culture, but I never, ever, 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 ever tried to, I don't go around like, oh, you need to do this, or you're gonna burn to hell. Nah, because I believe it, so I don't have to do it. If I believe I'm gonna jump out the window and fly, I'm not gonna sit here with you for 2 hours trying to convince you to jump with me, because I believe I can fly.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that's super powerful. Thank you for that. Moving back into the comic book nature of it all. Black Lightning, that's a recent series that you did. Great, killed it as Stone Killer.
Thank you, man.
Love it. Recently though, unfortunately, it's been announced that Black Lightning is coming to an end. Do you think is there a place for a black superhero in our world? A black superhero who focuses on family, on heart, on improving community. Do you think unfortunately this cancellation says that there isn't a place for it in Hollywood?
No. Honestly, man, I'll be honest with you, and I'm telling you this as a black man, as a black entertainer. A lot of times, some of the things that we put out, just because it's black, for me, I think if the time isn't taken out, like Black Panther, right? Black Panther was black, and you saw the success in that. But the reason why it was so successful is because it was quality, not quantity. It was undeniable. Black Panther was undeniable. Blade was undeniable. But then you get some things that come out that are black, and they're not. I mean, the acting is subpar. The storyline is and then when it gets canceled or it gets taken off, it's like, oh, it's because they were black. No, it's because it really wasn't. It wasn't. There was some things rushed on that project. I don't think it was like with Black Lightning. Black Lightning was cool, but it wasn't. It wasn't Game of Thrones. It wasn't Vikings. Even with, like I say, with the acting, man, it's important to take your time. I mean, we got a lot of black creators who put out so much content and they make a bunch of money doing it, but quality or quantity, Black Panther took a while to get done. Everybody's like, whoa, they talking, when's this thing gonna come out? It took a while because it was the quality of it. Everything was thought out. And I think we as black creators, actors, like me, I'm not rushing to just get on TV. My rush, when I say I want to be an actor, I'm rushing to train. I'm rushing to perfect my craft. I'm rushing to, whenever I do get a chance to get in front of the camera, to be grounded, to be the things that it takes to be, an amazing actor. And production has to do the same thing. Otherwise, it won't last, no matter what color you are.
You brought up Black Panther, and I'm glad you did, because this is going to be a question I had later on. you were speaking about your African culture and ancestry. How did you feel seeing Black Panther on the screen?
Empowered. I felt so empowered. I felt so happy for our kids. We didn't have that, man. So the closest thing I had growing up was like Police Academy. We had like 2 characters on there that was pretty good. It was so empowering. It was amazing. I mean, I just really felt so happy for these young kids, man, these young Black boys and Black girls to see that, because it's almost like when you think about, I'll give you an example. You think about Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if Jesus was shown as a Black man, how much more there's a subconscious thing. Subconsciousness is the beginning of manifestation. So to subconsciously see that God looks like me, for whoever that person may be, if the guy look white, and we can say we want to say, oh, the Bible says the hair was wool, and we can say all that we want to, but if you go on Google and type in Jesus, it's a bunch of white men. So there's something empowering about that to a white man. Same thing we think about the superheroes. It's just empowering, and I'm not speaking against. I wouldn't care if I was Asian. I would have an Asian Jesus of it. My kid's gonna be a Christian. You can be a Christian all you want to, but he gonna be Asian in this house. You see what I'm saying? There's something subconscious about feeling God, feeling more connected to God if God in physical form looks like you. And the superheroes are to children like gods, So to have that Black Panther, man, is gonna really breed some men that we have never seen before that look like us.
So unfortunately, earlier this year, we had the passing of Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
Him as an artist and a creator, did his career have an impact on yours, or what are your general thoughts on the matter?
Yes, definitely had an impact. He had an impact on the world. The one thing we got to know is death is a misunderstood reality. We all will. It's inevitable. We all will have that. But the impact he had from his lifespan and the things he did it's going to change the world, man. And then when you leave this world, that's when it's solidified. It's in the cement. When you leave this world, the cement dries. And that's when with all the things you did really make their impact. So what he did was phenomenal, not just for the film and television, but for us in life.
Wow. So just going back a little bit, back to Black Lightning, tell me, what was your experience on the show? Did you particularly like it? How was the audition process? Tell me the ins and outs.
Cool. It was cool. I mean, it wasn't my best experience.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. Something I didn't know. I think this is why it wasn't all that great of experience for me. I like grounded acting. I'm very grounded in my acting, and I didn't know at the time that television networks have different temperatures. If you're on CW, grounded acting is not what they do. If you're on a Tyler Perry show, grounded acting is not what they do. And I'm not to knock that type that style of acting.
It's just
but
different.
It's different, right? It's different, and a lot of people enjoy it, but that's not my thing. I'm a very grounded person. I'm not an over the top person. Like, for me, being angry at 260 pounds and 6'5" is very settled. I don't have to, you know what I mean? And I was being stretched, like, be meaner, be angrier. I was just like, that's not scary to me. If somebody come in the room and be like, I'm gonna kill everybody, it's like, who is this clown? But if somebody come in the room very calmly and say, I'm gonna kill everybody in here, that's just more powerful for me. And that's not their lane. So for me, I mean, I'm glad I got the experience, but it wasn't the best experience. Just being honest, not like I had a bad experience, but it just wasn't the best experience for me because that's not my lane.
It's funny, just when you were emoting like you just did, one of the characters you reminded me of that I think might be a good one is, have you heard of Sabretooth? That was Wolverine's arch enemy. Do you think you might want to do that?
Sabretooth? I would love to do Sabretooth. The
Okay.
black saber tooth. I'm down for that.
We're putting this energy, this good energy into the world. um, going, not to trail off, but going back a little bit, is there a network or creator in general that you'd like to work with that you haven't had the opportunity to work with yet?
I want to be on Power.
Oh, hey.
I like Stars. I like HBO. I like Showtime. I love Netflix. I like CBS, ABC, NBC. I like networks where you don't push too hard. I like those temperatures. You know, they're not trying to get you to push so much where it's more just internalized. I'm not a very theatrical actor. Theater is different. Theater is very big because the stage is so small and the audience is so huge. So theater is big. So a lot of theatrical actors. I'm a modern television actor. Television is this big, television is this big, and the actor, your face is this big. So everything is small, it's internalized. That's just what I like. I like the intimacy of television. I like the intimacy of feeling. I like to say something and I want you to just feel what I'm saying. If I can feel it and say it, because of the camera so close, I'm gonna just feel it and say it, and you feel it as well. I just love the intimacy of those networks. I don't like, it's cool. I love to get. I mean, like I enjoy BET. I did. That's what I like about BET. BET is a black network where they don't push so hard to get out of being grounded. I like that.
So one of the most recent works you did was Chicago Med. Tell me, when did you film that? Tell us a little about your character and the scenarios that you were put in in the episode.
I filmed that about, man, Dick Wolf don't mess around. Hold on, let me grab my charger because I got 5%. I don't know why. 2 seconds. Hold on.
No, you're totally fine. And just a reminder of viewers, thank you for joining us. This is the NNPA Black Press USA Live. You're here with me, Noah Washington, and Michael Anthony on Blurred Binder. We're just having a conversation about his career, life, all of that good stuff. So thank you for joining us here. And remember to check in regularly.
And that was the commercial break, and now we are back. So you asked about what was that? That was Chicago Med.
Yeah.
Man, that production, it was so, everything just flowed. I mean, it was like a big family because there's 6 seasons in. So everything was just, it flowed like water. The acting was dope. Actors were amazing. The director was amazing. We shot it. Dick Wolf don't mess around with his projects. When you shoot it, it was out in like 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, damn, usually you shooting this out next year or months later. It was out in like 2 or 3 weeks. The only thing I didn't like, I had the ADR. ADR, for those that don't know, is when you had to go back in the studio and re-say the words and match your mouth. I'm not good at ADR because then it doesn't sound real, but everybody said it sounded pretty good. Of course, I'm gonna be my biggest critic. The project, I played Officer Simmons. Officer Simmons was basically just a very non-empathetic prison guard who was watching over this pregnant woman about to have a child, and he was just worried about, protocol, and it kind of showed that the officer was just doing his job, but the system wasn't set up, I guess, to have empathy in certain situations. So it was a pretty controversial message they had on there. It was good.
Tell me, when did you go out to shoot it?
We shot in Chicago. All of Chicago Med, Chicago PD, Chicago Fires, all filmed in Chicago.
Did you film it this year post, I guess into the coronavirus?
Yeah, I shot it like a couple weeks ago, maybe last month.
Tell us about that. What was it like filming under those conditions?
I mean, it's strenuous. It's like I'm on a project right now I'm doing called Lust that's filming here in Atlanta. And it's like, man, you getting stuck in the nose every day. You know, COVID, and you gotta have your mask on at all times. They got like a little area, it's like you know how you have like a smoke area. It's
Mhm.
like a breathing area where you can only have your mask off in this particular little area, and only a certain amount of people can be in the area at one time. Whereas back in the day, obviously back in the day, but before COVID, if I want to have a bag of chips and I get some chips, I would sit here and just. But now you can't even drink water or anything outside of that little area. So it's pretty. I mean, I understand. We got to make sure everybody's safe. So I'm just glad to be working. So I mean, I don't mind it. It's whatever until we can get past it. But it's definitely it's challenging for sure.
Wow. That's
Mhm.
totally crazy. Do you see us going back to, I guess not normal, but at least shooting the way it was pre-COVID anytime soon?
Not anytime soon. I
Hmm.
won't say that. But I can see it. It's going to happen eventually. I mean, people's immune system is going to eventually. If you look at Atlanta, from what I'm not a CDC specialist. I'm just saying what I see is like, there's no way Atlanta is how we've got the lowest rate now, and we the worst. Like wearing masks, and because I was in Chicago, like you got to wear your mask in the gym. You wear your mask whenever you leave your house in Chicago. You have to have your mask on. When you're outside, you got to have your mask on. It's not like here in Atlanta. It's kind of like, okay, I'll put my mask on and walk in the store, and I'll have it around under my nose and my mouth if I'm not around anybody. But in Chicago, like when you're out of your house, if you're walking down the street, you must have a mask on at all times. If you go to the gym and work out, you work out with your mask on the entire workout. But at the same time, the COVID is shooting through the roof up there. But in Atlanta, these folks having pool parties and twerk competitions and oiled mud wrestling and everything else in Atlanta, and you go in the store, nobody got a mask on. It's just like, and we got the lowest rate. But I think what it is just like anything else, man. Our immune systems will eventually adjust as God made us to do,
Hmm.
and it'll be like a cold or a common flu eventually.
Hmm. Wow. So tell me, you were describing earlier how you got into the industry. Is anybody in your family in the entertainment industry?
A lot of my family members are musicians. I got a cousin named Troy. Before him, my Uncle Edwin, he played with Parliament. He was a drummer. Um, my mother and father. My mother was a singer. She became a pastor. But my mother and father actually met at a talent show that they both won first place in. He was a dancer and she was a singer. And his cousin, my uncle, was also a dancer and singer. He was in the dance group with my father, and he wrote the songs for the group my mother was in. So he linked them together
Hmm.
through music, entertainment. So I come from a background of entertainers.
Wow. That's
Mhm.
that's just dope. That's just
Mhm.
really, really dope. So part of, you have a lot of dramatic roles. Do you do you see yourself going more towards comedy at some point? Or do you strictly a dramatic actor?
Which is the thing that's crazy is I'm a comedian just by nature and throughout every day. But when it comes to film, I don't know. I'm just more drawn to dramatic. I mean, I'm sure later. I'm sure at some point I'm gonna want to stretch my comedic bone, But I don't know that dramatic stuff, man. I'm drawn to it for some reason. But definitely can see myself stretching, once I get to that point. Kind of how Dwayne Johnson did. He started off with dramatic, but I'm sure he's, in person, he's cool and laid back and funny. And now he's doing more funny stuff. But I don't want to start off as a comedian and then people can't take you serious. It's better to go the other way.
Hmm. Okay.
Mhm.
So, is there any content, projects that you want to get on now? Like already established shows. For example, I mean, like, would you want to be on Blackish or any other long running series?
I would definitely love that. Blackish. I mean, mixes. I definitely want to get. I mean, the long run of the series will be good because it's a lot of actors that's been doing it for a minute and coming into something like that. You can learn so much. That's my favorite thing of all sets I've been on. Is being around people that's been doing it for a long time
Mhm.
and people that are successful at it. You know,
Mhm.
being able to learn from them is probably one of my favorite things on being on something like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely love to be on there.
Okay. What project has given you the best experience? If someone were to come to you and say, "Hey, we want you back," who would you want that to be?
Well, if we talking about if we talking about somebody say we want you to come back and be a series regular, it would have to be Chicago Med because that $100,000 episode sounds good. But but my best experience, honestly, man, has been there's a film called a series called Kings of Joburg. It's actually coming out. It's coming out tomorrow, December 4th,
Oh
on
wow.
Netflix. Yep, Kings of Joburg is going to be on Netflix tomorrow. It's Netflix, one of their first international African um, Netflix originals. It's going to be worldwide, and I was blessed to be on there and play a character. And this season 1 is going to be amazing. It's going to be successful, and it's going to get picked up for a second season. And when it gets picked up for a second season, I've already been told by production they're going to bring me back.
Ooh, there we
So,
go.
and that was
Bring in
my
that good
favorite.
energy.
Bring me back, man. That was my favorite. That's been my favorite project I've done. Even though, of course, I've done some, the heavy hitters over here, but it just was something about everybody, like the cast. It was like a family, the environment of being in South Africa. I just loved them over there, man. I loved the people in South Africa. I loved, and they gave me a different outlook on acting, like in Africa. A lot of people think about African acting. We think about Nollywood, over the top. Oh, but they were like acting. I was like, oh shoot, these boys, they can act. Like they're really good. They're really good. And like I said, just all the other experiences aside of, just being on the set and the freedom I had. I mean, there was so much freedom on that set with the director. They had an award-winning director, my Zulu brother.
Mhm.
He was he's an Academy nominee. Excuse me, yeah, Academy nominee director. But he was super cool. Just yeah, man, I love that project, man. I loved it.
I'm really, yeah, that's really, I'm really glad you said that. John Boyega, best known for being featured in the Star Wars films, has a production deal to do African-based films. You think you
Mm,
hop on that?
I would love to have him on that. I would love to be the biggest African, uh, I don't know, American doing African film. I'd love to be the man over there. I mean, I just love the people over there, the energy. It's amazing, man, over there.
Just remember that you put that great energy here first. When it
Right.
does happen, not
It's
if,
happening.
when it happens.
It's
Um,
happening.
Getting more back and to the roles you want to take. Would you potentially want to do a villain? It looks like, so for example, right? It looks
Mhm.
like Spider-Man. They're doing Spider-Man here. That they're looking for some villains. Would you want to take a
Mhm.
big villain role?
I would love it.
Any particular villain? Well, I guess we said Sabretooth earlier.
I would just say it too. I want to be a new villain.
Mm.
I would love it. I would love to be a villain. I play
Okay.
villains very well for some reason. I don't know. I'm a good person, guys, but for some reason, that's all I play as a villain. Actually, it's like my number one note I get on set is, Mike, could you be a little bit meaner? I get that all the time, so I know it's something I need to work on.
just be a little bit angrier. We
Could you
don't
be
see
a
the
little bit
fear in
meaner?
them yet.
Yeah, could you be a little bit meaner? I'm like, all right, yeah.
Oh man, that's sorry. That's just really funny to me. I know you as this great guy. I'd never want to like be in a fight with you, That just wouldn't end well for me personally. It just
Man, I'm a teddy bear, man. I'm just big, and unfortunately, that's why I got to play those roles all the time. They're like, oh, I know a guy, and it's so funny because now I'm to the point in Atlanta where I get casting directors like George Pierre is one of my favorite casting directors in Atlanta. But like I get now here, I just get like a veil check without the audition. If it's like if it's like a big dude that's jacking people up, it's like, oh, let's see if Mike's free for this.
is is there any role, speaking of casting, is there any role that you have gone out for that you really wanted to get but unfortunately didn't get?
Oh, of course.
Are you allowed to tell us?
Yeah, one of those roles, it broke my heart, man, was Jim Brown for the film called the one night in Miami. Yeah, with Regina Hall. I mean Regina, not Regina Hall. Regina King is directing it. It broke my heart.
When it what?
Mm-hmm. I auditioned for that, but the thing that messed me up was, and I had to bounce back from this, bro. Like acting is, people don't understand. Like actors, we don't get, like, I don't tell people when I'm auditioning for stuff because they be like, "Did you hear anything? Did you hear anything?" You don't hear anything. If you don't get it, you just don't. You just watch. You just see it on TV one day. You know what I'm saying? They never. They don't call your agent like, "Hey, we went with somebody else." They just pick somebody and go about their business. So it's like getting ghosted all the time. Oh. You audition for it, and then if you don't hear nothing, like, okay, well, cool. Or you might audition for something, and then 6 months later, be like, "All right, we're going to pick you." You're like, what project was this again? It's weird. You got to really connect and love something and dive into it and really believe and go crazy with it. And then once you're done with it and submit it, you got to forget about it. It's so weird. That's why a lot of actors are so messed up in the head. But yeah, that was one I really, because it was a real person. So I had to sit there and really like study Jim Brown. I had to study him and sit up, watch all his interviews and listen to all, just see his demeanor and see how he responded and reacted to certain things, and I was literally going to bed and listening to this man talk for like 4 or 5 nights straight. I watched every single interview I could find of him, learning his demeanor, learning his hand gestures, learning how he felt from his the nuances that he in his movements. Eventually, then I learned it was a 21-page audition. 21 pages. Had to learn that. Did audition, speaking just like him. With his inflections, with his everything, man. And then when I submitted the audition, they didn't even watch it. They didn't even watch it. And that it crushed me because it was like, yo, I just literally cut my family off, cut my friends off, cut everything off just to become this man. You know what I'm saying? And y'all didn't even watch it. So that's acting is like that. But I realized they didn't watch it because they was already negotiating with a big name,
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's definitely jacked, man. Well, we have a few people saying hello to you in the comments right now.
Where the comments at?
We're on Facebook. We're here. Say hello right back to you guys.
Hey, Vicky Myers. You got David Youngblood in here. What's up? How y'all doing? Who else we got?
And please send us your questions. If you guys have any questions, let us know. We'll be happy to answer them if they're not ridiculous. Actually, no. We'll answer ridiculous questions too. Not ridiculous questions, though. There is a line.
Ridiculous questions are the best ones. Send some ridiculous questions. Let's get it.
Okay, so moving on, you said that you traditionally, you get angrier roles. What role have you been offered that was just kind of like, well, okay, something that you wouldn't have expected to have gotten?
I had a role on a network that I got. Man, this was heartbreaking. I got the role, audition. I got the role, And then the day before I got on set, the intimacy producer called me.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. Turn it down a little bit. Can you turn it down a little bit for a second? Yep. Just tell me, give me a second. Just tell me, give me a second. I got family in town. They watching TV live and stuff.
No, you're all good. It's all good.
No, but I had a role where they basically they tried to get me to play a guy in prison, but then I didn't know, but the guy was raping another man in prison. So I had to turn it down.
So you didn't figure out about this to the day before or the day of?
They called me the day before. I mean, what an intimacy producer call. Anytime you're doing like sex scenes or nudity, they got something now where an intimacy producer will call you, you know, to make sure you're good with this, and you know you're gonna be wearing the amnesty sock, whatever it's called. And I was just like, intimacy producer. I said, my character is in prison. Who he can intimate with, the nurse or something? Like, so it was hard. It was heartbreaking because I was so excited about that role. It's a major network, one of my favorite networks. But the good thing is they still paid me though, because somebody dropped the ball. Because you're supposed to have that in the breakdown when you do an audition. Like when I get an audition, they'll say, you must be comfortable with on-scene nudity or on-scene simulated sex scene or on-scene simulated same-sex sex. And they tell you in the breakdown, you must be comfortable with this before you even audition for it. But for some reason with that one, it wasn't in there. So they still paid me. So, and I got the credit. So it's all good.
Yeah, that is finessing.
Finessing. I got the whole check. I was like, well, and I didn't know they was gonna pay me, but they paid me, and my agent was like, well, they dropped the ball. So, you know, when you do, that's the good thing about SAG. When you're dealing with SAG, they gonna, you know, they ain't like back in the day. They gotta pay that fee.
So my question is, have you been have you had any fan encounters?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Ooh, what was the best and the strangest? Not necessarily bad, but just strangest. But if you want to tell us a bad one too, that's also fine.
The best fan encounter was when I was traveling international, and I was coming through customs, and the customs officer, I was in another country, and it was like, yo, they was pointing at me, and I'm like, oh shoot, this can't be good.
What country were you in?
I was in Africa.
Oh, okay.
And I was coming back to America, and the customs people was pointing at me, and I was like, oh my God. So somebody came up to me in line like, sir, come with us. I'm like, oh my God. Took me to the customs line. They were like, are you Michael from Ready to Love? I was like, yeah. They were like, can you take a picture? I was like, sure. So I took a picture. I went through, I didn't show no ID, nothing. Then when I got to my terminal to fly out, the guy with the red coat, at Delta, he got the red coat as a supervisor. That's how I found that out. So the guy with the red coat was like, hey, my girls over here want to take a picture with you. If you take a picture with us, we'll put you in Delta 1. I was like, well, how y'all want me to pose? So I flew back to Delta 1.
Wow.
To take the pictures, yeah. I mean, most of my fans, honestly, right now, majority of my fans come from Ready to Love, the love show I was on, the reality show I did 3 years ago.
Wow,
people.
It's been that long. Wow.
Yeah, 3 years, man. People still, you and Shay together. I'm like, y'all, they're not 3 years ago. But you know how it is, man. TV re-air stuff and it's new to some people, so I don't get upset about it. I realize that it's new to them, and it's on TV, so I can't be mad, So most of my fans come from that.
What was that experience like on Ready to Love?
It was cool, man. It was cool. It's something I would do once and not do again, though. But it was cool.
Once and not again. Yeah. Any particular is there something you got from Ready to Love that you take into the rest of your acting projects? Well, it's a reality show, so it wasn't.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna say that. Nah, because it's really no acting with Ready to Love. A lot of people don't understand. They think that certain people, a lot of people don't really know entertainment industry will say something like, "Oh, he went on that show to be an actor." Like, no, that's not how that works. That's backwards. If you go on a reality show, you might not want to be an actor because it makes it harder for you to get a job because they don't take you serious as an actor. I was already acting. I already started training as an actor. I was training as an actor and ended up on the reality show. And so that was so I did learn from that show. Like I just want a private relationship, because public relationships is once you go public to a relationship, you open to everybody else's insecurity. You open to everybody else's hurt and pain, and they push it off on you. Any woman, if it's a woman that's scorned and she hasn't healed and all this, and now she watching you and your mate, and she got all her advice, and you like, man, you need to go get some damn body. You trying to tell me what I would have did that, and I would, all that stuff right there, bro. I was like, nah, I'm cool on this. My next relationship is gonna be me and my mate. We're gonna go to counseling and let the counselor tell us who's, where we have in the beginning to make sure we both healed, and then we're gonna go from there. And I will do what I need to do to make her happy, and vice versa, man. I mean, so many people nowadays with social medias and all this stuff, they let everybody into their personal relationships, and they wonder why they don't work, Or they stay in a relationship. A lot of people from them shows, they stay in a relationship and they constantly trying to show you, hey, y'all, look, it's working. They slaves. They probably want to be in that relationship, but they slaves to it because they done said something in front of the world, and now they got to hold on to that and, getting married and stuff to people they probably want to get married to because of the pressures, the outside pressures. I want to be pure. I don't want anything that I do with my mates to be influenced by anybody from the outside. I don't want her to be influenced by the outside. I want us to act on how we truly feel about each other. And anytime you put yourself in a situation where you bring the world in, it's impossible.
Do you still talk to the people that you were on the show with?
Not really. I still talk to the girl, Shay. We still cool. We chat here and there. And I talk to Pastor Chris, but Arab, Instagram, I like a pictures of some people's stuff and, leave a comment. If something good happened to them, I'll leave a congratulations. But, it's back to your original people kind of like, because I didn't have the best experience with all the castmates. We cool, but I started a lot of jealousy, because when somebody go on a television show, a reality show, there's no such thing as a person going on television who doesn't want any kind of fame. That's a lie. Anybody that goes on television wants fame. I don't care if you're going on Ion to Fix My Life. You want some fame, but you would do it. You would go to a private counselor. You wouldn't be on TV with cameras. If you really wanted to find love and that was it, you can find love and be on TV, but you want fame too. You don't want to just find love. You want to find love possibly and get some fame possibly. It's just that's the reality. So whenever it's a situation like that, the person that is getting the fame and those that ain't getting the fame they thought they was gonna get, jealousy starts to seep out. You know what I'm saying? So that was the case. Out of everybody in our show, I was the one that the fans, majority of the fans connected with and continue their relationship with. And a lot of people on the show, that wasn't the case, So you know how it is, man. You can sense jealousy. So I just was like, I pulled away from a lot of people and just maintained my friendship with the few I was cool with.
So you were saying earlier how you were an established actor before Ready to Love. Going into casting offices post Ready to Love, what was the experience like? Did casting producers look at you any differently, any better, any worse?
Well, I wasn't an established actor before Ready to Love. I was training to start acting. I just signed with my agency like right in the beginning of Ready to Love. But yes, casting directors look at you different. It's more pressure because it's like, it's one of them. this is a needy links or you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
a lot of reality television stars don't train as actors. They just say, "Oh, people know me. Let me come on your show and remember these lines." So they expect that from you when you're from reality. It's a when you come in from a reality show into scripted television, it's harder, and a lot of people don't understand that. They think that that's going to help me, but no, it's not. It's the opposite.
Wow. What are some of the what can you tell us about reality shows that most people not seeing them don't know? Well, I mean seeing them, but most people wouldn't know.
What that they wouldn't know?
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Take your time.
What they don't know? They don't know about the jealousy behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? Like it's everybody on reality, everybody on TV want to be famous. Now, once they get on there and get some fame, they might change their mind. There's a lot of people that was on our show that was like, nah, you know what? I don't want this, and fell back because it's a lot. Fame comes with judgment. You know what I'm saying? It comes with a lot. It's stressful. So a lot of people couldn't take it. And of course, they pull back now, went back to their regular lives. But when they came onto that show, they wanted some fame. So what people don't see is the behind the scenes gossip and jealousy. And you know what I'm saying? So when somebody's saying something on camera, a lot of times it may not be coming from a genuine place. It may be coming from a place of jealousy.
So we're entering our final few moments here. So what is something you want to give to aspiring actors or aspiring entertainers, since you've kind of navigated the music and the acting side?
Don't let your competition should be the people on television. Like me, when I go into an acting class, I don't look at anybody in the acting class as my competition. I turn on the television. That's my competition. That's what I'm competing against them. When I was in the music industry, I don't care about the local, who the top 5 rappers in the city. I don't give a shit about that. Who cares? I'm not trying to be a rapper in the city. I'm turning on a radio station. I'm going against Wayne in my head. That's how I get to, that's the biggest mistake people make, trying to make competition with people that's close to them. And it's like, that's as far as you're trying to go? This your competition? Nah. That's my biggest thing. Your competition, go to the highest level of whatever it is you're trying to do. So now I learned that from Ted Lucas, and I was at Slip and Slide Records, and I was supposed to be in the studio with Lil Wayne, and I put out a notepad, and he was like, "I'm not putting you in the studio with no notepad to make a song with Wayne. That's not what the best do. They make a song from the head." And I was like, "Yeah, but I just started." Well, you ain't ready then. Stop doing what local people do. Local people write songs on notepads. Lil Wayne and Drake and Biggie Smalls and Tupac, they write music from their head. So I had to learn how to make music here, because my CEO was like, "I'm not putting you in the studio with who you trying to compete with. You trying to be the best in your city, or you trying to be the best in the industry?"
Would you go back to music? Would you go back to music?
Once I get where I'm trying to go in film, I would Jamie Foxx it a little bit.
Other than, of course, the comic book roles that we talked about, what are some other things you're looking to branch out and do?
Produce, write. Yeah, it's gonna be an entertainment, and I want to do some stuff in Africa. I want to teach, just influence the youth to open their eyes to African spirituality, and not continue to pass down the demonization of their foundation.
Wow, powerful stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. And please tell us about your recent projects that you have coming up.
Well, the one I want y'all to focus on is Kings of Joburg. Tomorrow on Netflix. Go to your Netflix right now, type in Kings of Joburg, and hit reminder. And tomorrow I want you to watch it. I'm on a few episodes. Well, I can't tell you. It's just, yeah, tune in.
All right, you heard that. Kings of Joburg. Remember, Netflix tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you being here and look forward to seeing you on screen soon, man.
My man. All right, y'all be blessed.
All right, be blessed, everybody. And thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime, brother.